Have you ever wondered how sound can heal, inspire, and transform your life? What if the vibrations around you could unlock your true potential and guide you to a deeper sense of harmony? Welcome to SoundPathways, the groundbreaking journey into the healing power of sound, creativity, and connection with your host, Dr. Karen Olson. In each episode, she explores the profound link between your mind, body, and spirit, from composers and musicians to sound healers and visionary leaders. She'll dive into captivating conversations that reveal how sound shapes your reality, heals our wounds, and helps us manifest our dreams. And guess what? You're part of the conversation. So call in and ask questions and experience personalized sound healing live. And let your sound be your guide to the life you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to Sound Pathways, where we explore creativity, community, and living our dreams. I am so excited to have Allison Charney Epstein as our guest today. We are going to learn so much about using our voices to bridge and create peace in the world. She's such an amazing opera singer, and she is a leader in all realms. We're going to be talking about singing and speaking through our hearts and voices and bridging different worlds. Allison has captivated audiences at Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and major concert halls throughout the world. And she has a reputation that is extending everywhere with her luminous voice and her beautiful messages and her commanding stage presence. She has performed leading Puccini and Mozart roles and collaborated with many of the nation's finest orchestras and artists. She's admired for her extremely high artistic standards. Beyond the stage, she carries her message wherever she goes. At Harvard alumni groups, she created PREformances, a season of hope during the pandemic. It brought some of the most elevated and amazing musicians and audiences together when the connection was most needed. And today we get to learn more about her newest release, Alike, My Mother's Dreams. It highlights similarities over differences and includes country pairs from Russia and Ukraine and Iran and Israeli composers. The album is a vision for unity through shared humanity. Allison, I've had the joy of seeing you and your larger than life stage presence firsthand. What does it feel like to be able to step onto the stage and share so much?
But first of all, so nice to be with you. Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
thank you so much.
What does it feel like? Other than terrifying, you mean? There's never a time when it doesn't feel awfully scary to step out on stage. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah,
It's a strange job. Um,
yeah, really.
but how does I get that that wasn't exactly the question you were asking. How does it feel? I feel really lucky that this is what I get to do, and I feel lucky that I get to have an opportunity to maybe touch people and maybe affect their souls and maybe enable them to have a chance to feel something. I think we're so busy and so shut off from our feelings that to have a little moment to just be is really a blessing. And so if I get to help provide that for someone, I feel um, fortunate. And, yes, I try to imbue some sort of meaning into everything that I'm doing. And right now, with my album Alike, as you said, focusing on unity on planet Earth, which I think, we need so much of. Um, I feel, again, I think just lucky that I have a platform upon which I can stand and say something and people might listen.
Mm, yeah, so beautiful. I've been noticing more and more about full circle moments when it comes from within as your dream and your goal, and then it extends through other people's hearts and it comes back to you. And that's really what it's all about for everyone, to find that meaning in their lives and be able to share it and see it reflected in other people's faces and hearts and lives. Yeah, it's community is so great. I feel so honored to be a part of the Recording Academy and to have shared so many inspired and inspiring concerts and events, not only yours, but other people. And to me, we have an early holiday season. I feel now when people are releasing and it's coming up for voting season, we get all these concerts and you've had so many beautiful events. I just, it's a really exciting time because it's a group of people where I feel the energy level is so high and the level of service and support is really, really exceptional.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think voting aside,
yes,
there's always that, and everybody wants prizes,
yeah,
but
that's
it's so much more
nature.
than that, and it's such a great opportunity to get to hear,
Oh,
finest music that is being created and being interpreted, and to be together in fellowship with one another, with people who,
mm.
love the arts and love music, and as you well know, all the collaborations that come out from being on somebody's podcast to making music, all of that feels like such an incredible bonus, a luxury. um,
Mm.
I agree with you. It's really a nice group to be a part of. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mosaic, and everyone has a piece in it, like all of us in all parts of our life. But I think finding a place where you feel like-minded people and that share your values and also for me to witness the level of brilliance and the extreme way it's done. For instance, all that you've done. I remember hearing your album last year and your presentation. You went to Ukraine and you basically risked your life to really share your voice and mission and peace. And now this beautiful album that has what we all need to hear now, which was inspired by your mom. I wonder. I know that it's got such a beautiful backstory with so much meaning, but was there a moment when you had a spark of interest, like, oh, I would love to see this happen and that everyone could hear what my mom always instilled in me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a moment, if there was like an aha moment, kind of epiphany, but just in general, as long as I'm going to take the time and the energy and the expense of, and so many people's lives to make an album, as you well know, it's an enormous undertaking. Um, I sort of thought it had to be about something more than just making music and more than just pieces that I love, although there's something of value in that also. And I'm terribly troubled by the state of the world. And you know, this album, I am a very political person, but this album is very not political on purpose. This album is meant to be like above politics. It's so far above politics. It's about humanity, I think, and it's about everybody only just doing what they can, just a drop, just put a drop in. And if you put a drop in the bucket and I put a drop in the bucket, maybe we can overwhelm the earth with goodness, if we do that together. And the huge problems that exist, I don't know how to solve. Um, I don't even know how to begin to solve them. But what I'm absolutely confident of is that if we can't talk to each other and, more importantly, listen to each other, there's no hope. And so, I do this thing where I guess I sort of am forcing people to listen to me, right? Because there isn't really dialogue when you're listening to somebody perform. Um, but I'm I am taking this shot of placing these pieces of music together to try to make a point. And as you pointed out in the introduction, there are a couple of pieces to this album. One are these country pairs. There's a piece composed
Yes.
by a Russian, one by a Ukrainian, one by an Iranian, and one by an Israeli. My point being, all of that music to me makes perfect sense being right next to each other on this album, just as I believe all of those people belong right next to each other, living in peace on planet Earth. Um, and then there are three sort of orchestral anchors to the album. One is a piece by a great American composer who alive now, Kim D. Sherman. She walked around her super diverse neighborhood of Washington Heights in New York City
Mm.
and asked everybody who worked there how to translate the same sentence into their language of origin. And the sentence is, make peace on all your lands. And that's
Mm.
it. And she set that line of text in 15 different world languages for soprano and full orchestra in this beautiful piece she calls Invocation. So that's on there. And then there's a piece by the great, also American woman composer, just by chance, Amy Beach. She lived at the turn of the last century. Her Gaelic symphony was the very first symphony composed and published by a woman to ever be performed in the United States. That was in 1893 by the Boston
Wow.
Symphony. Um, and this piece is called Jephthah's Daughter. It's a very upsetting biblical story. And it's not really the point of the story that I have it on the album. Instead, it's the point that Amy Beach delivered her one and only handwritten manuscript of the piece to a soprano who lived in France. And she left it with her, and the soprano kept the score, the one and only manuscript, handwritten manuscript, in a trunk and for safekeeping. World War I broke out. The German army seized the trunk, and this beautiful score for a piece for soprano and orchestra, a 10-minute long dramatic scene, was lost to the world for over 100 years.
Wow.
I got my hands on a copy of the handwritten manuscript that had been found.
Amazing.
And had it transcribed for full orchestra. And this is the first ever English language recording of Amy Beach's Jephthah's Daughter. And my point of including it on this album is saying, look at all the collateral damage from war. Not only do we lose all the things that are obvious,
Yeah.
but also great art and great music and great beauty and great potential. And what a waste. And then the final piece is the Dvorak songs my mother taught me, which speaks for itself. And my mother is still alive and kicking and making her point known. And she has always taught all of us that we must listen to the other, and that the only way to have a life that's worth living is if we find what makes us alike as human beings and not focus on what divides us. So that's what this album
That's so
came to be. And I don't know
powerful.
why, I just sort of thought her message is what is missing now, I think. And so if I could come up with a way, what I know how to do is sing. So if I could come up with a way to sing it somehow, I would. And that's like my mother's dream.
So powerful. And a kind of a call to each one of us to find what drops we can put in the bucket. Like they say, one note at a time, one thought at a time, one good deed at a time, whatever it can be. And the way we're so united that when we do send peace out to the world in love, it really is felt to know that we can make a difference, especially together, but also each person as a part of it.
And it's so hard right now to listen to people who don't agree with you because our disagreements are so enormous that it's really hard because you just want to scream at anybody now. Like
I'm thinking I don't want to listen.
Right. I mean, who wants to listen? Nobody. So, but maybe we can try to put aside the enormous problems and find something to talk about with somebody and see how far you can get. How far can you get to have a conversation with somebody that you might not agree with about everything, and maybe not about really big things, but can you just start? Can you find the humanity in the other? And maybe that's a way. I mean, I don't know. I'm hardly an expert on sociology or world peace, but I do know that this is not good. The way we're going about it is no good.
It really is painful. And they say music is the universal language. And it really is, because for so many reasons, it touches our heart and, our subconscious mind and all the vibration, the frequency, and just everything about the messages that are more important than the words, which we might disagree with the words, and sometimes we don't even come together with the feeling beneath it all, but we can all do our part to find that unity, even within ourselves, of compassion and forgiveness, even if it is an acceptance of what the other view is, but tolerance and just expanding beyond that, as you said. It's really amazing. I remember quite a few years ago, I had the opportunity to go with a chamber orchestra to Jordan, and we played with the military people. They were just starting to learn how to play instruments. They were bringing Western music into Jordan. And so my stand partner was this army man. And of course, we needed to have our covered. And it was quite an amazing thing with the different cultures coming together in every way. And it was so powerful. I mean, it was just the feeling of gratitude and connection. It just speaks so far. So every way we can do that is really, really quite amazing.
And sometimes you think that you're having an enormous disagreement with somebody. And if you could just like take yourself out of it for a minute and listen to what they're saying, so even still, sometimes there's common ground, because even still, maybe what they're really saying is, I want stability for my family. I want to be heard. I want my voice to count. Maybe it's not such horrible things that they're saying,
Right.
that they really want. It's just maybe the way they're going about it is very, very different from the way you might go about it. But maybe you can find,
Yes.
there's still a hope of finding some. There has to be, or we're doomed. I mean, I don't know how, this ends, if we can't figure this out as humanity, not as a country or a political party or, a government, but as humans.
Yeah, no one is 100% right or 100% wrong. There is that place in the middle that we can seek.
I mean, maybe 97%.
Yeah. Right. Wow. What was it like when you went to Ukraine?
Oh, that was quite an incredible experience. That was about a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
To be fair, I mean, you said I risked my life. I mean, I suppose so, but I did stay in Lviv, which is the closest big city to Poland.
Mm.
It wasn't like I went all the way to Kiev where there was actual day-to-day fighting. So yes, there were air raid sirens, and it was scary. Don't get me wrong, but of all the places I could have been in Ukraine at the time, I think I was probably in one of the
Mm.
safer places. Um, and it was, it was all things. It was scary, and it was inspiring, and it was uplifting to see these Ukrainian people and their unbelievable resilience and their um, insistence on having music in their life. Just before our concert, literally just before, like 15 minutes before, all the power went out in the city, all the power.
Wow.
And the concert hall had a generator so they could turn some lights on in the house, but it was dark in the city. And so for sure, I figured that was it for the concert. But no, the entire audience filled up. People just walked in the dark and came. They weren't going to miss it.
Wow.
I just can't believe it. It was impossible to believe, but they will not allow anything to stop their souls from being enriched and to stop whatever beauty they can grab onto. And that was really inspiring.
That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And something we could do in our lives, and especially in the midst of darkness, seek out the messages of light.
Yeah. And, you and I are lucky that we can make music, because that is certainly a way out of darkness for so many people.
Yeah. It's beautiful, and it's beautiful to be able to create it and share it, not just, you know, experience it within ourselves creating it, but it's a part of a larger.
And I guess for me,
community.
I'm not really a creator of the music because I'm not a composer. I'm an interpreter of the music. And I suppose without my voice, the music can't be heard. So I'm a necessary piece of the puzzle to transmit it to people. But as the interpreter, I also feel a very strong responsibility, not just to the audience, but also to the composer to make sure that I'm doing what I think the composer would want. Maybe easier in a piece like Invocation when Kim Sherman is a friend of mine and I can call her and ask her, get her opinion, than it is for the Dvorak, for example. But that's that's certainly part of the responsibility of being a classical musician too, is that you owe service to the tradition and the lineage of how the music came to you over the generations. Um, and then that same responsibility to the audience to give them something of value, to give them an experience. So that responsibility, I feel that very strongly.
Well, I would like to express your expansion of your creativity, even if you didn't create the notes. But the brilliance of how you put it together is very creative. And it's not just the pieces themselves, but it's the context of the themes, how they come together, and your mission with it, and your heart as it sings that. It's very different. Like we could compare it to if AI had a version of it and it was just one random piece on iTunes. How different that is when you pair pieces and the themes and the missions and your outreach. And I find that I'd like to humbly say that I share that fascination of bringing things that have been done in new ways. And it's partly how you put it together that makes it new and
Yeah,
unique.
there's no question about that. And there is, the curation of it and the ordering and, all of that is obviously a skill that, I've worked on for decades and decades. And I feel proud of that. I recognize that I have that skill, but I've learned it and I've practiced at it. And it's still like it. I was tortured coming up with the order of this album. It's only 7 tracks, so many permutations of how you can do it. But I, I really, I toiled for a long time over the order, and then it's like that magical. That's an epiphany, right? When all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so obvious. And actually, the Dvorak, the songs my mother taught me, was the last piece to be chosen for this album. And
Oh,
we just didn't have it. We had 6 pieces, and
wow.
all agreed that something was missing, especially my very long time musical collaborator, Benjamin Loeb, who's the pianist and conductor
Mm.
of the album. He was like, you're missing a piece of like really solid classical music that something we can all sink our teeth into, but that's still really accessible. And you're missing that piece somehow. And we were thinking and thinking, and I don't know, I actually don't remember what
Mm.
happened, but suddenly we're like, oh my, how could we possibly have overlooked the Dvorak? It's just sitting there for the taking. It's like the perfect piece for this album. And it really did tie it together. And it's the first piece on the album. So um, it's sort of, I guess, funny when I think of it as tying the thing together and yet starting with it. But it just felt like the right kickoff. Um,
Wow. That's beautiful. I like to share with the listeners about creativity because I believe everyone is creative, and it's really how you put your life together, how you put your day together, and all your dreams and all your different things. And I think it is a combination of researching and seeking and searching everywhere and then being open to some enlightenment or some guidance. It's just like, pooh, just brings it all together for us to share, to live.
and also always with music, it's listening, right? I mean, which fits the point of this. It's people, I was thinking about today the expression that somebody has a good ear, which is something we use to describe
Hmm.
somebody who's musical. But I think I want to think about that differently for myself going forward, that it's not just about having a good ear, but it's about listening properly. I think in music, as musicians, we often think about making the sound, right? But I think listening is maybe even a more important skill. And to have, particularly as a musician, an overlooked piece of the puzzle. And in listening to these 7 pieces over and over and over and over again, because I mean, people can listen in any order, and on Spotify, it's like whatever random order you get. Sometimes it's not even your album that, I don't understand how that. But so it's probably unusual for anybody to sit and actually listen from beginning to end the way you used to on a record, although this does exist as an actual vinyl album. But I conceived it in the hopes that somebody might listen to it in order from 1 through 7 the way I planned it. And when you listen in that order, I do think that it gives you something extra. It's an extra experience.
It's like a journey.
Yeah, the way the pieces fit. Again, none was created to go with the other.
Yes.
The way that they do, and the way, the amount of time that there is in between the tracks even is on purpose. And as it is for everybody. I mean, I don't mean I invented that idea, but just, the amount of silence in between matters to me, and the key changes and the language differences, the orchestration. Some of these are for full orchestra, some are for chamber music, different combinations of chamber music, different makeup in the orchestra. So nothing is exactly the same. And the piece, the album ends with this piece called Postscriptum by Lara Auerbach. And that is a wordless piece. It is just a vowel sound. And so this album that is all about listening and all about words and all about all these different languages, for me, it was important to end it with no language. Because I think, our job is far from done. And I think
powerful.
In the end, I think there are no words for how the world is. So it's I think it's a bit of a sad ending, but always with the hope that we can find the words if we work together.
Wow, that's really makes an impact.
I sort of hate to say that, because I'd rather people just have their own experience with that piece and not just because that was my purpose doesn't mean that's how you should hear it.
Yeah.
But that is what I was thinking.
I think it helps to have it framed a little also, and to have an open mind for our own messages. That's really beautiful. I also love how you collaborate with some of the really top artists. One example is when you created PREformances, the season of hope during the pandemic, which really brought people together during a time of isolation and creating community, which is still the message, but that was such a different time. And all the ways, like how you bring these amazing people together. They're like household names for the world, for musicians especially too. What does that feel like to find them and to be able to create with them?
I mean, for sure, that's one of the very best parts. And I was saying before that all I know how to do is sing. I also know how to collaborate, and I know how to bring people together. That I do.
Yes, and be a leader. Yes.
I love surrounding myself by, greatness if I have the chance. I think some people feel really threatened acknowledging other people's greatness and talents, and I just find it so inspiring. And I was always taught that there's plenty of room at the top, so you may as well bring everybody up with you. You don't have to seek it out for just yourself. So
I love that.
I love spending my days around super talented people. And I am really lucky that they will come make music with me. So
Definitely.
on this album, I mean, first of all, there's Ben Loeb, who again is my.
Did your aunt introduce you to him?
No, we met in college.
Oh, okay.
Our professor, our great professor of blessed memory, Louise Veskertian, who was a brilliant concert pianist and an even more brilliant educator. And she was one of the prize pupils of Nadia Boulanger, who
Wow.
taught anybody who was anybody
Yeah.
classical music for decades. She said she had, truly thousands of pupils. And she said if she had picked only three, Louise Viskerson would have been one of
Oh
those.
my goodness.
Yeah. So again, like there's that lineage, right? We learned from her and she learned from Boulanger, and therefore we learned from Boulanger.
Mm.
Anyway, Louise Viskerson was very opinionated and stern and bossy, and she insisted that I ask this very scary seeming older boy at school. I like pointing out his age, that he's older than I. Not by much. He was this incredible pianist, and I thought sort of untouchable to somebody with my level of understanding of music, which I thought was so inferior to his. She insisted that I ask him if he would play piano for me. And you didn't say no to Professor Viskerson. And so I got all my courage and asked Ben if he would play with me. And we have been musical partners ever since. And he likes to say, I was scared of him in that moment, and he's been scared of me ever since. But that relationship started 37 years ago.
That's beautiful.
And we literally have been making music together ever since. We certainly make music with lots of other people too, but when we can, we try to do things together. So that partnership is really important, both to me and to this album.
Yes.
And then beyond that, we have just an incredible group of musicians. We have violinist Kelly Hall Tompkins.
Yes, I know her.
Yeah. And cellist Peter Seidenberg and flutist Alison Loggins Hull. I mean, who's that's as star-studded as you get.
Yes.
And harpists, Kirsten Agresta Copley,
yes,
who you know quite well.
Yeah, she's been here on this show.
Oh, and Gay LeBlanc. And then we have the living composers who were willing to collaborate on this. We have Kim D. Sherman, whom I mentioned, also Mariana Rosette, Kian Ravai, and Lara Auerbach, whom I also mentioned. The four of them are part of this project. And then there's the production team. And as you know, I just have the greatest ever producers and engineers on this.
Kit Wakely, how could we even explain him?
Yeah, there are no words. Christina Giacona, Patrick.
Yes, amazing.
I mean, Jeff Keswin, Trey Nagella, Tony Corelli,
wow,
Jen Nelson. I mean, the list just goes on. And also pointing out that, this is considered a solo vocal album, and there is zero that is solo about this project. This is, it's only my voice that you hear, but it is a giant, giant effort. And all of those, I mean, those are just, these are exceptional artists, all of them, and leaders and motivators and collaborators and friends
and people,
humans. Yeah. And everybody was really on board about this story that I wanted to try to tell and this mission that I'm on. And that helps too. And, there are plenty of disagreements along the way, plenty, and hard times and hard decisions. But when you're working with people who basically just want what's best for the project,
find the similarities, not the differences.
Yeah, I mean, that really is what it came down to. And everybody wanted this to be the best it could be. And in terms of trusting everybody with my voice, everybody also wanted me to sound as good as I could sound, right? Nobody was ever looking for anything short of that. And so every disagreement or argument or change of repertoire, because we did have quite a few changes, everything was to serve those goals.
Wow.
I'm really, really lucky.
Amazing. And a great example of how much higher we can raise up when we're not by ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're with people who really want you to shine.
Yes.
I mean, that's also part of it.
It's beautiful.
Everybody involved, they wanted to do their part brilliantly in order to tell this story, and also to, make my voice and singing, and, since that's how the audience is going to perceive is
sound brilliant.
oh, thank you. But, and not taking anything away from myself, it's due in large part to the company I kept on this album. That's for sure.
Oh, well, you're modest, but it is beautiful. It's like-minded people creating this message.
Yeah, and even not like-minded. It doesn't even have to be like-minded. That's
Yeah,
goal-minded, I guess,
yeah,
similar
that's
to
true.
goal-minded, but coming from very different walks of life,
Yeah, that's a good
very
point.
different backgrounds and very different political points of view.
Right.
It's a group of strong-minded individuals, that's for sure. Uh,
But you share the high standard.
Absolutely, it was a shared goal of excellence, a shared goal of communication, a shared goal of making this message clear of unity, um, and in the end, real love for one another.
Mm. Yes, I there's it's very multifaceted, all of your parts of this album, and I've been able to witness how you unite all the parts of your life, your family, your artistry, and your mission. And definitely your mom is her voice is carried out in this. So how do you weave them all
She's loving that.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, I wish she was here. I'm sure she would have some some more gems to share. But I'd love to know more about how you weave them together and how your family inspires this artistry and how they support you. And how you support them. It really is woven together.
It's really hard to be a working mom.
Yes.
It's really, really hard. And my hat is off to all the working moms.
Yes.
I think that, you know, people talk about being busy, and I don't mean to take it away from anybody else, but you don't know busy until you've met a working mom.
Yeah, especially one that wants to really be dedicated. And not all moms are dedicated, but when you want to give it the same in many places.
It is hard. And in particular, or, I'm sure anybody could, if I understood the ins and outs of another craft, I might have a different opinion. But for my particular craft of singing, there could not be anything more self-involved than singing, right? I mean, it's
Wow.
literally my instrument lives inside my body, right? I have no case to put it in at night. If I'm tired, it's tired. Think of how many times you wake up with a scratchy voice. That's disaster for me. What you eat affects your voice. I mean, everything.
Really?
It lives with me all the time. And so it is literally as self-involved as you could be is to be a singer. There's just, it is.
Wow.
And what could be less self-involved than being a mother? It's the exact polar
Right.
opposite. And that is a tug that is challenging to find the middle of. That's for sure. Um, uh, However, I can't imagine at this point one with the other. I mean, I can't remember my life without my husband and my children, really. And it is, I do not regret or resent that tug at all. In fact, I think it, enriches me as a human so much that it has to infuse my music. It has to. It just has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just tired. I'm just really tired all the time. But other than being really tired, um, I think, for anybody, right? It's not just specific to me. If you have a loving family, or if you don't have a family, if you have a loving group of friends or support system, your life is lifted up on
Yes.
cushions and clouds in a way that it couldn't be otherwise. And I'm so, so lucky, that I'm surrounded by, I still have my parents and who have always been very supportive, and my brother and his wife and their children, and my husband and his sisters and their families and his parents, and our two delicious children who are,
Yes.
practically grown humans now. Um, and our circle of friends who we think of as family, um, and our extended family. We really are surrounded by an enormous amount of love. And that is quite a buoy to be able to hold on to.
Yeah. And also, I believe in community, in relationships, in family, whatever. We have so many lessons for ourselves that really enrich us and expands our gifts and our message, and just our heart grows so much than if we were able to make our lives very structured, and self-care is the main theme. It's a good theme, but if it's, it all does
At some point,
come
I'll get to
back.
self-care, Karen. I'll find that at some point. That'll be
Well,
good.
you have so much joy in all that you do and your giving, and it's really just quite amazing. I'm would love to talk about people that might be unsure of their gifts and what encouragement you might give them to follow their dreams that they carry inside of themselves.
I mean, I guess the first thing is you have to shed, I think, your concern about what others might think of you.
Mm.
And I think the easiest way to do that is to recognize that for the most part, people are so worried about themselves that they're really not paying much attention to you. I think that's really a truth that is important to embrace and see it for a good thing, not a bad thing. People are so in their own heads and so worried about how they're looking and what they're thinking and what are people thinking about me, that in the end, you can get away with a lot of stuff and people aren't paying attention to you. And so why not go for it? Be brave, be a little brave. You don't have to go to Ukraine, which really was, at the end of the day, I was shocked at the bravery required, because I feel like before I was a mother, I felt like I was a brave person. I took on a lot of challenges. And I think that when I became a mother, I really became not brave. I did not want to put myself in a situation where I needed to be brave. And going there, I sort of reclaimed my bravery. And I recommend for people to claim or reclaim their bravery. It's a very powerful feeling, and it's a little scary. You don't have to go to a war zone. I don't recommend that as your first step. But just claim a little bravery. Try something just a little brave and see how it makes you feel. And recognize that I guess that like the gain is everything, I guess, is risk, reward, risk, whatever that expression is. And the reward is so huge, I think, for allowing yourself to dream and act on your dreams, that it's just, for me, it's so obviously worth it. But it takes a lot of practice. You got to, baby steps, but take a baby step. Everybody listening, take a baby step today. Again, it's the same idea of like put in a little drop, just a little something. It doesn't have to be big. It can be tiny, and it will, I think, make a difference.
That's beautiful. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we're going to come and learn a little more, and we want to find out how we can find out more about you. So thank you.
Imagine an experience where world-class music meets the power of sound, miracles, and transformation to release stress, dissolve subconscious blocks, and reconnect you with your highest self. That's what happens when you work with Karen Olson, Billboard's top musician, intuitive sound healer, and best-selling author. Her private sessions and Elevation Pathways programs have helped thousands of people worldwide transform their lives, finding freedom from stress, clarity of purpose, and a deeper connection to their true self and their dreams. As a special gift for SoundPathways listeners, when you book a session, you'll receive a personalized sound meditation recording to continue your transformation at home. Limited spots are available. Book your session now at KarenOlson.com/services. Your path begins with sound.
So talking about dreams, what is your deepest dream for the impact of this album?
I mean, my children joke with me that tens of people listen to my kind of music. Um, so I suppose um,
Funny.
I mean, in this case, actually, as you know, we can sort of see our numbers, and this album is definitely being heard by more than tens of people,
Yes,
which is
definitely.
which is a very nice thing. We charted on Billboard, which was really exciting, and
Yeah,
um,
beautiful.
so I guess the first dream is that people will listen, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
right. Like that's the hope, because you just put it out there, and nobody could listen.
And I don't know if people understand the role they have, because if people didn't listen, what difference would it make that we went to all this effort? It's to be heard, to be shared. And if they could share it and if it impacts them, that's yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
big.
like that old commercial, oh, for the shampoo, and I forget what
Oh, I can't wash it.
no, it was like the screen kept increasing, and it
Oh,
eventually, and then they told someone, and then they told someone, and then they told someone, and then they told someone. That's sort of like how the algorithms work, if I understand
mm,
properly, and all,
yes.
how the way people listen is on these platforms. And if you listen and if you share it, it just automatically makes it go to more people. If you put it on your playlist, whoever those people are controlling the world think, "Ooh, somebody likes it." That means somebody else might like it. And it really matters to the success and reach of anything now.
Yeah,
So
putting a like, a comment is just enormous gift.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So really, as a listener, you have an enormous amount of power over what
Mm,
gets heard. Um, and if you listen to a Like My Mother's Dream and you like it, I hope you will, tell somebody and let them tell somebody, and then they tell somebody, and then, look at what happens. Um, so I guess that's the first dream, is that somehow it gets into people's ears. Um, and then, of course, I hope people feel something and like it, and have a positive experience with it. But even if they, I mean, they don't have to like the whole thing, right? Like, how can you ask anybody to like any whole thing of anything?
right.
Um, you can have your moments, you can have your favorite, you can like one track better than another. I mean, I'd be fascinated if you told me about that and what you liked and what you didn't like. Um, I hope that you like the journey from start to finish. And my hope at the end of it is that it gives you some inspiration to, again, put in either put your drop of goodness in the bucket of the world, or, as you're saying, try something new, try something that will advance your personal dream. Even if it's just something tiny, that would be an incredible outcome of this, just incredible.
Yeah, that would, well, I'm sure that it already is. Basically, that part of your mother's wisdom and that dream can guide other people to dream more, to take a spark of that dream and have it be part of their dream of finding the ways we're alike and the ways we can share, the ways we can make a difference, and to make it really specific. I think when we think in global terms, or I think sometimes people say, wow, you're just so amazing, but that's you. What would that really have to for me? I'm don't have anything like that, or there's nothing I can do, but to really know that it's about each person's importance and each thought, and if it's a negative thought, that you could transform it and just to dream bigger. That's what I've learned from these communities, how big the dreams are, and they do them.
And also own the negative thought, right? Like, you can't have a penny without the heads and the tails. You can't have happiness without sadness. It's not possible. You
Yes.
can't understand joy without pain. It's actually not there is no definition of joy without pain. So you have to be open to having the bad stuff too. You can't have no bad stuff. That's not realistic. And it's not fulfilling, because again, you can't then have the good stuff mean anything. Um, so that's not something to fear or shy away from. We will all have plenty of bad stuff. Um, I don't understand needing to get rid of anything bad. That doesn't make sense to me. You have to have the whole penny. Don't just have one side of it. But so let's say you think, well, I don't have a musical talent and I don't have a this and I don't have a that. I'll tell you what everybody could do. Everybody could be working a lot harder at finding the truth about themselves and about the world, and not just accepting whatever, TikTok shows them and whatever the person next to them is saying is true. Don't get me wrong, I actually like a lot of things on TikTok, but
not powerful.
But there's so much garbage that people are consuming. People have very strong held opinions, political opinions in particular, that are so filled with hatred and cruelty, in the guise of being the opposite of that. And so much of their opinions are derived from false information that they are not understanding how to filter out. And it is becoming harder and harder and harder to understand and distinguish truth from fiction. And if nothing else, that's something we can all strive to do. Seek out the truth, even if it conflicts with what you believe.
I love that. Right. And to have one positive, unique thought of your own, and then add one step you could do towards activating that thought and have that grow, and then seeking out communities. And we all have choices. If someone doesn't like something, if they're not a fan of this or that, they can just move on. We don't need to be negative. It just maybe isn't our own thing. But then other people will it could change their lives so automatically. So just knowing that there's these differences where we are similar, but
thank goodness there are differences.
It's okay too.
So boring if we all had to like the exact same thing. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems with curtailing speech, for example, right? Is that you got to let everybody have their thing, and thank God we don't all have to believe the same thing, and I don't mean truth. We all should agree on truth. But after that, we don't have to have the same opinion about the truth. We can take the same facts and go to different places with them. And that's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Right. I mean, that's fine and great and desirable. And sure, you don't have to live in the negative again, and that would be a horrible place to live, but not to be afraid of experiencing something that is less than good in order to get to the good.
Oh, you have shared so much wisdom and beauty, and I can't wait for everyone to listen to your music, your album. So how can listeners find your album? I know it's everywhere, but is there anywhere specific and ways to know about all your concerts and events and more about you?
So my concert series that has transformed itself over time in the pandemic is called PREformances. It's like performances, but it's PRE. And the website is PREformances.org. And that has everything.
Beautiful.
And Like My Mother's Dream is available. I mean, you can buy a copy of it, but you can also just anywhere you stream music, you can find it. So if you just put in Like My Mother's Dream or Allison Charney, you'll find it.
That is so beautiful. So through your amazing artistry and your wisdom and the beauty of your heart, you shine this beacon of brilliance and light, and you remind us about uniting with families and values and gifts, and by taking steps on the journey of our own dreams and being able to bridge divides and create lives and communities with deeper meaning and connection. I can't thank you enough, Allison. You're really beautiful. And I look forward to experiencing more and more of your music and about all your wisdom. And thank you. Keep shining. Blessings and love.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part of Sound Pathways with Karen Olson, where music and healing come together to open new pathways in your life. Relax and renew with Karen's award-winning music, crafted to soothe your spirit and uplift your heart Available wherever you stream your favorite music. Ready for deeper transformation? Book your personalized healing session today at KarenOlson.com/services and receive a custom sound meditation designed just for you. Join our vibrant community. Stay engaged with our free newsletter filled with exclusive offers and practical tips, even powerful tools to support you on your journey. Until next time, keep following the sound of inspiration and live the path of your dreams.